Hello, thank you for joining us on the news. I'm Ruth Aguele. My sign language interpreter is Anna Olainka. Let's start with the headlines. Federal government introduces integrated export and import certification system for easy movement of agricultural produce. Kenya's President William Ruto withdraws controversial tax proposal as demonstrators vow to sustain protest. And WikiLeaks founder reunites with family in Australia after walking free from U.S. court. Kenya's president has withdrawn controversial tax proposal that sparked deadly protests. This is coming as demonstrators vowed this Wednesday to keep up their demonstrations against the proposed law. Let's hear from Comfort Fashion.
President Ruto of Kenya has declined to assent the controversial Finance Bill 2024, the one that sparked protests across the country.
Consequently, having reflected on the continuing conversation around the content of the Finance Bill 2024 and listening keenly to the people of Kenya who have said loudly that they want nothing to do with this Finance Bill 2024, I concede, and therefore I will not sign the 2024 Finance Bill.
Ruto, in a live telecast, says he decided to reject the bill and sent it back to the parliament for amendments which the MPs will have to consider. In returning the bill, the president will point out key areas that need to be altered. Parliament may amend the bill in light of the president's reservations or pass it a second time without amending it. If the MPs amend the bill fully accommodating the president's reservations, the Speaker will resend it to Ruto for assent. With the MPs set to go on recess beginning Thursday until July 23rd, it means that should the president return the documents to Parliament, the Speaker may have to recall them. Some of the tax proposals that had earlier been introduced in the bill include 16% VAT on bread, excise duty on vegetable oil, VAT on transportation of sugar, 2.5% motor vehicle tax, and eco levy on locally manufactured products. This development is, however, coming at a time when the protesters vow to continue demonstrations, with governments mobilizing soldiers to assist the police in dealing with security emergency. Comforts, Fashion, NTA News.
The Democratic Republic of Congo military court says it will continue to try 51 people over an alleged coup bid, rejecting calls from the defendant's lawyers to drop the case. Here is Comfort Fashion again.
Earlier, the lawyers had called on the military court to declare itself incompetent to try the defendants, who are all civilians, over a failed coup bid that took place on May 19 in capital city Kinshasa. But the court ruled that these 51 civilians are not being prosecuted simply for criminal participation with soldiers, but as authors, co-authors, or accomplices for acts that are judgeable before military courts. These are stated by the court's president, Major Freddy Ehume. On May 19th, armed men attacked the home of Economy Minister Vital Kamerhe in the early hours before moving on to the nearly Palais de la Nation that houses President Felix Tshisekedi's offices. They were seemingly filmed brandishing the flag of Zaire, the former name of the Central African country during the rule of dictator Mobutu Sese Seko, and chanting that Tshisekedi's government was over. Among those being tried in the Kinshasa military court are 3 Americans, including Malanga's son, Marcel Malanga. The lawyers for the Americans have called for evidence from earlier hearings involving their clients to be annulled. They argue that their clients were interrogated in French without an interpreter, despite being English speakers. 4 women are also among the accused, as well as a Canadian and a Briton. The charges include attack, terrorism, illegal possession of weapons and ammunition of war, attempted assassination, criminal association, murder and financing of terrorism, according to a court document. Comfort Fashion, NTA News.
A total of 164 irregular Nigerian migrants have been repatriated from Libya during the exercise undertaken by the Nigerian Embassy in Tripoli, Libya, in collaboration with the International Organization for Migration and the Libyan authorities. The detainees from Libyan detention centers, who earlier were arrested on various offenses, were advised to avoid irregular migrations through perilous journeys across the desert and the Mediterranean Sea. The Chargé d'Affaires of the Nigeria mission in Libya, Ambassador Mohammed, said they comprised 38 men, 120 women, as well as 4 children and 2 infants. He admonished Nigerians to avoid every unusual solicitation to undertake any such journeys without knowing what lies ahead of them. The exercise was conducted by the embassy with the cooperation of the Libyan government and the IOM in Libya as part of the organization's voluntary humanitarian repatriation program, which is aimed at providing life-saving, dignified and expedited return to willing migrants to their home nations. Ukraine and Russia have exchanged 90 prisoners of war each in the biggest swap between the two warring sides in almost 5 months. The Russian Defense Ministry said 90 of its servicemen who were in danger of death in captivity have been returned from territory controlled by the Kiev regime. The report.
Moscow and Kiev have carried out 50 prisoner exchanges since Russia invaded Ukraine more than 2 years ago, despite ongoing hostilities and both sides accusing each other of derailing talks. The United Arab Emirates mediated the deal. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky acknowledged on social media that 90 more of his people have returned home from Russian captivity. Russia also admitted that 90 of its servicemen who were in mortal danger in captivity have been returned from territory controlled by the Kiev regime. The freed servicemen were airlifted to Moscow for treatment and rehabilitation. The last war between the two warring sides was at the end of May, when they exchanged 75 prisoners each, also with the UAE's mediation. In February, both sides said they swapped 100 prisoners each, their first exchange since Moscow accused Kiev of downing a plane carrying captured Ukrainian soldiers. Comfort Fashion, NTA News.
In other news, Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said he was very pleased by a plea deal that ended WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange's long legal saga, allowing him to return home a free man. The WikiLeaks founder has landed in Australia, we hear, and reunited with his family after working free from a U.S. court.
WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has landed in his home country, Australia, on Wednesday after pleading guilty to violating U.S. espionage law in a deal that set him free from a 14-year legal battle. His arrival ends a saga in which Assange spent more than 5 years in a British high-security jail and 7 years in asylum at the Ecuadorian embassy in London, battling extradition to Sweden on sexual assault allegations and to the US, where he faced 18 criminal charges. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese expressed his appreciation before the Parliament in Canberra Wednesday for the successful outcome, and that he believed overwhelmingly Australians did want to see.
This work has been complex and it has been considered. This is what standing up for Australians around the world looks like. It means getting the job done, getting results and getting outcomes, having the determination to stay the course, and I'm very pleased.
Julian wanted me to sincerely thank everyone. He wanted to be here.
On Under the plea agreement, the 52-year-old Australian citizen pleaded guilty to a single charge of conspiracy to obtain and disseminate defense information and was sentenced to time already served. Albanese said the resolution of Assange's case was the result of careful, patient and determined work he is very proud of. Assange was pursued by U.S. prosecutors for leaking vast amounts of military information and feared a long sentence in a high-security prison. And last week, he signed a deal with the U.S. that would see him plead guilty to one charge instead of 18 he was originally facing. Comforts, Fashion, NTA News.
We turn our attention back home. The federal government has introduced an integrated export and import certification system for easy movement of agricultural produce in and out of the country. The certificate, which will be issued by the Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service, is also aimed at addressing issues associated with the rejection of Nigerian agricultural produce. Musa Baba Aliyu reports.
By international standards, all agricultural produce and livestock meant for export must be certificated before leaving the country. And in Nigeria, the Agricultural Quarantine Service is saddled with the responsibility of certifying the produce going and coming into the country. The organization introduced an electronic platform for easy assessment and verification of produce.
Basically, what the system does is that traders who want to export agricultural commodities can apply for their phytosanitary certificates. The phytosanitary certificate is like a health certificate that states that a commodity leaving Nigeria to an importing country is free from pests and diseases that may prevent the commodity from being accepted in that country.
This is expected to facilitate trade and eradicate delay in the export of produce.
The formal process of issuing phytosanitary certificate, which used to be manual, is now moving to an electronic platform. So it makes it easier for them to be able to apply, it makes it faster for them, it makes it safer, and it makes it cheaper. So implementation is going to be a joint collaboration between us and our stakeholders to see that the process is implemented to the fullest.
It will enhance efficiency and accuracy in safeguarding the imports and exports of agricultural produce, and we are hopeful that this will help to curb the rejection of our exported agricultural products.
The government agencies therefore appeal to all Nigerians intending to travel with raw food out of the country to consult Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Service for clearance. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Amidst the ever-changing prices of commodities in the markets, which is making it difficult for majority of buyers to afford food items, federal government is exploring some avenues in line with the renewed hope agenda to make life easier for Nigerians. The recent is the market survey conducted by the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission to some markets in Kano. Abdullahi Mustafa reports.
Justina Egedu is at the Galadima market to buy yam. She is, however, disappointed as her bargain is not enough to arrive at affordable rate as the cost is high.
When the thing is getting expensive, at least we buy 1 2. But today I came now, they are saying 1 tuber is 4,000, 5 is 10,000. So it's too expensive now. The masses cannot, I don't know, for me I cannot afford it, so I'm going.
Justina is among the many Nigerians battling with the ever-changing market price caused by the economic challenges the country faces.
This thing is becoming too much every day because there's no day you bring money into market, you'll not be happy with it. Every day I must spend 10,000 naira, and how much am I earning every day?
The market survey by stakeholders of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission is among the steps taken to address the challenges and to promote fair business practices and protect the interests of consumers like Justina and Tajuddin, among other Nigerians.
As the high rise in the cost of food prices in this country, this is something that has been of major worry to the current government, because part of the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President is to make sure that Nigerians get a better deal. But so far, what we are getting is not what we bargained for.
The marketers at the Sabongari, Galadima and Dawano markets complain about the low produce, insecurity and lack of support to farmers, which has significantly affected prices of goods at the markets. The Commission will compile and hand over its market reports to augment the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu so that Justina and her likes will be able to afford the 3 square meals and comfortably live their lives as Nigerians.
All right, let's take a break. We're back in a moment. Thank you for staying tuned. Unwholesome land practice has been reported to be one of the causes of most climate impact man is facing today, with about 10 billion livelihoods dependent on land use on the verge of vanishing if aggressive land restoration is not undertaken before 2050. Now, this was one of the topical issues discussed at the 2024 World Desertification and Drought Day organized by the Federal Ministry of Environment. Let's hear more from Charles Alpha.
Desertification and drought are not just environmental issues. They are threats to our very existence and hope. They have
From the lips of these young school children comes a cry for a sustainable future, a future where land degradation is reversed and drought a thing of the past. Marked on the 17th of this month, the Federal Ministry of Environment decided to shift the commemoration of the 2024 World Desertification and Drought Day to enable more participation, with stakeholders, including students, lending their voices on the need to take responsibility for the environment.
We stand united in recognition of the immense importance of our land, not just as a valuable resource, but as a very foundation of our existence.
United for Land, Our Legacy, Our Future is the theme for this year's celebration. And for the Minister of State for Environment, it's about conservation and adopting land degradation neutrality, with emphasis on bush burning, overgrazing, and deforestation as part of poor land practices that must be tackled.
I'm resolved to use our land in a more sustainable manner. We should not overexploit the land. Overgrazing should be avoided.
Take like 40 years before we can get close to addressing the level of degradation.
The day marks the 30th anniversary of the United Nations Convention to combat desertification and drought. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
The Energy Commission of Nigeria is collaborating with the Standards Organization of Nigeria and UN Environment Program to review the minimum energy performance standards for air conditioners in Nigeria. This trio are having a technical committee meeting in this regard with the aim to ensure that the Nigerian market remains at the forefront of energy efficiency and technological advancement. Justin Bem Onye reports.
There has been a collective effort aimed at enhancing energy efficiency and promoting climate-friendly cooling solutions, thereby contributing significantly to Nigeria's climate goals and sustainable energy access. Just recently, the inception of this review process had recommendations that underscore the urgent need to revise and elevate the current minimum energy performance standards, MEPs, for air conditioners in Nigeria. This meeting here now is to further solidify the country's commitment to energy efficiency and environmental stewardship. The standard-making process, guided by the SON and supported by the technical expertise of the Nigerian National Committee of International Electrotechnical Commission, IEC, ensures that the country's standards are robust, comprehensive, and aligned with international best practices.
Let us remember that the standards we set today will have a lasting impact on the sustainability and prosperity of Nigeria. At the conclusion of our deliberation, we are tasked with drafting comprehensive recommendations for the Standard Council of Nigeria. These recommendations should be forward-looking, aligned with international best practices, and tailored to our local context.
And less money in heating systems, so this is good for the country.
The review and recommendations here are expected to shape the future of air conditioning standards in Nigeria, driving advancements in energy efficiency, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and fostering sustainable economic growth. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
Director General, National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Zubaida Umar, says the agency will continue to make broader consultations with key stakeholders and partners to enhance service delivery in the management of disasters across the country. The NEMA boss stated this when she led the management of the agency on a courtesy visit to the Inspector General of Police in Abuja. Ilyasu Yakubu reports.
In all aspects of disaster management, experts say collaboration is key for effective proactive approach and mitigation in the business of disaster management. This meeting, the DG NEMA said, is to sustain engagement to ensure the safety, security, and plight of Nigerians who may be affected by disasters. She said there is no doubt that Nigeria's disaster profile and associated humanitarian outcome calls for the strengthening of mutual support and collaboration between NEMA and the Nigeria police. The rainy season, the DG NEMA explained, is always associated with widespread flood disasters with destructive impact. Hence, it has become necessary for all to manage the trend.
The prevailing situation in Nigeria calls for greater collaboration between NEMA and the Nigerian police force. All hands must be on deck to build the disaster resilience of Nigeria and safeguard lives and livelihood of the people.
To enable successful life-saving search and rescue operations wherever and whenever the need arises. In Abuja, Ilyasu Yakubu, NTA News.
Stakeholders in Obio Akpo local government area have thrown their weight behind the decision by the Inspector General of Police to continue to barricade the local government councils in the state until law and order is restored. They made their position known during a peace walk in some parts of the local government area. Emmanuel Lene will tell us more.
The peace walk by PDP members from the 17 wards of Obiakpo local government area is in support of the Nigerian police to continue to keep the peace at the various local government secretariats in the state, pending the determination of the pending suits at the appeal court. Commencing from Rumeme Civic Center, the peace walk went through parts of Equator Road before terminating at the popular Rumola Junction. Speaking on behalf of the group, Minority Leader in the House of Representatives, Kingsley Chinda, said they are in support of the action of the Inspector General of Police to ensure peace reigns in the state. He equally called on political office holders in the state to always abide by the rule of law, as this makes democracy thrive.
In support of governance by law, not by discretion, not by impunity. Rivers State is a state that must comply with law and order.
Let us continue to be peaceful. Like our other leaders have said, we are in support of the good work Mr. President is doing. We are in support of the order of the Inspector General of Police.
The peace walk had in attendance supporters from across all the wards in the local government area. In Port Harcourt, Emmanuel Lene, NTA News.
Hundreds of members of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations came out this morning to partake in a walk like Carnival in Abuja to create awareness on the Institute's Diamond celebrations. Haman Jabani, who took part in the work, reports that it started from Area 1 through to Area 10, Old Parade Ground. Let's see that.
The
The walk is the final of the walks that took place across the country early this month. Road shows or carnivals can be an effective and affordable tool to effectively communicate to a large number of people in a short time and help to create a lasting impression. Having won by the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations is believed to be part of the reputation management it is creating for building a brand identity and establishing presence in shaping the public relations in the country for effective strategic communication for leadership and service.
So the essence of today's work is to highlight, to a kind of give it publicity, visibility, and then to enlighten the public on what the NIPR stands for.
If you don't carry public relations, you are totally in shambles. That is what we are demonstrating. That public relations has become a leadership function. And we are the people, the profession, the practitioners, the experts that give life to humanity and society.
President Global Alliance, who led the public relations experts, say 60 years of the institute has demonstrated professionalism around the world, and it is leading to long-term success.
And never before have I seen such enthusiasm, such programs, and more than importantly, such vision. Where the institute has been taken over the last 60 years has been amazing. But you know what? Their vision is twice as big as where they've come from. And that to me is, you know, as a result of all the hard work, the practitioners, the understanding of government.
Present this crowd to you. Thank you, sir.
Hamad Jabani, NTA News.
All right, congratulations to the Diamond Jubilee of NIPR. Let's find out tomorrow's weather, just in case you have a walk tomorrow morning. And that concludes the news. Thank you for your company. I'm Ruth Aguele. My sign language interpreter is Precious Ozomina. Bye.